intro. Tell us about you. How long have you been in real estate?
My name is Clendaniel. I actually got my license in 2007, but I didn't do much with it because I had kids. And so I came to Keller Williams' office in December, right before Christmas 2014.
Awesome.
So here I'm saying.
I love it. Hey. Renee?
Let's say I've been licensed since 2007 and have only been to this office because why the protection? And what else?
You were born here. You were born at Keller Williams?
I was born as an agent in Keller
I
Williams.
love that.
And that's it. I sell real estate, so if anybody needs some help, I'm available.
That is true. You helped an agent over the weekend.
I did.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no problem.
All right, Miss Brittany.
Brittany Loan, and apparently I'm the senior on the panel, February of 2005. And I was born at Keller Williams.
Born at Keller Williams. Awesome. All right, so I have a couple questions for you guys, and we're going to just kind of go through the panel. Whoever wants to answer first, pop in, and I would like for all of you to answer all the questions if possible. All right. First question. Gary Keller says in the book of The Shift, when the market reinvents itself, you must reinvent yourself. What have you done or plan to do to reinvent yourself during this shift in the market? You want to go first?
Yeah, that was, when you sent me the questions, like 45 minutes ago.
That was I should have been an agent, right?
I think for me, one thing I love about Keller Williams and why, I think it aligns with me is one, the culture, but education. So as soon as something changes or shifts, I find myself just naturally going back to reading the shift, listening to more podcasts. Like, it seems like when I was really busy, like the last 2 years, I stepped away from some of those things. And I feel like I'm getting back into trying to, know my numbers, the market numbers, just kind of digging more into it.
Okay. So I feel like this was a thought-provoking question for you.
It was.
Good. And kind of what I hear you say around that is that you're really going to get back to being a business owner, right? And really being aware and taking more control of the business.
Yes.
I love that. All right.
Well said.
Our friends like that. Our friends like that. Ms. Renee, what are you doing or what do you plan to do to reinvent yourself during the shift in the market?
So this is not our first shift. And so you go back to your basics. You go back to contacting the people that you have done business with, contacting the people you know, contacting people that you semi-know, and you just have to really drill down onto what, as to where it is that you get your business from and how that serves you. And the big thing for me is the kind of income contribution, because I find, and I want to say that it was Deborah Blue, who I don't think is still licensed, who was, is she still broker? She did my post-license class, and she said, as long as you are not attached to the ending, you will do a much better job. And so as difficult as it is, especially if it's like 15 or 20 or more thousand, if you can just separate yourself and say, I'm only serving my client, it always works out better.
Right.
I also took Deborah Blue's post-license class, and she was amazing.
She was amazing.
And
She is amazing.
it took about a year for me to understand what she meant. Don't be attached to the outcome. And I'm sitting there going, what the heck does that mean?
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you're like, that's what that means. Like a little like, yeah.
All right, so Brittany, same thing. What are you doing or what do you plan to do to reinvent yourself?
Yeah, very similar. So like, last 2 years was just treading water, just handling all the business that was just falling in everybody's lap. So just getting much more intentional about being relational, touching folks more. My business is very much referral and past client based. I don't do a lot of advertising. And then going back to the education. I didn't have time for education before. I stopped listening to my Audible books. I stopped listening to my podcast. So I'm getting back into that routine and that habit. I need to feed my mind something.
Yes, and stay in a good mindset. I always say you do the work and you detach from the outcome, right? If you stay tied to the outcome, it can drive you crazy. So you just do the work, the right things will happen.
Yeah, you make bad decisions when you're attached to the outcome.
Correct. All right, thank you guys. All right, second question. What do you do to get in the right mindset for focusing on working with your buyers and sellers? So this kind of touched on you a little bit, Brittany, but what do you do to make sure that you stay in a good mindset?
So this one really hit for me because I got extremely burned out towards the end of last year. And in December, I pretty much took a sabbatical from real estate. I was done. I didn't want people no more. And so I had to, all the energies that Gary talks about, you know, my spiritual energy, my physical energy, family, my, you know, quality time is my love language. So I had to just kind of refill my cup and focus on exercising. And Michelle and I are in the gym all the time. And I used to tell myself a story that I've got to work. I don't have time to go to the gym. And a light switch, you know, a light flipped. And I said, I've got to go to the gym so that I have the right mindset to work.
Perfect. Renee, what do you do to stay in the right mindset?
Stay away from negative people. Which I mean, that sounds stupid.
I just
But
want to
but it is true when you're around people who are constantly complaining and constantly downers and, oh my God, the market is so horrible. No one can go under contract, blah, blah, blah. Stop. I have very little patience for anything like that. I also, I do get that. So I actually went out of town to Chicago for a long weekend. And it was probably the first time in maybe 3 or 4 years where I actually truly enjoyed myself. I'm like, this is great, because I wasn't like freaking out about business, because that's what we do. We're sitting there going, oh my God, I'm not there. I can't show my house. I can't. Oh no, what happens if I got an offer on my listing? And, you know, it was like so nice. And so I came back saying, I'm going to do that every trip. Good luck with that. Probably not going to happen. But it sounds good. And I really want to focus on the positive and not the negative. And that includes taking time off for family. You know, Maria Sims says, we have a rule. I don't walk into the house on my phone. And I'm like, I mean, I'm walking in my house. but I also have adult children that don't live with me. So that's not that hard.
Yeah.
And my husband's used to it. And you know, that, and I'll listen to uplifting music, and I'll read, like, one of my favorite books, You Are a Badass. That's an awesome audible book. And, you know, stuff like that, because how you think is how you act. And so everybody knows I'm like way too Pollyanna-y, but it's like, stop. I'm not subscribing.
Can I kind of add to that? When I feel myself getting frustrated, right? Long days, everybody wants something, and, you know, everybody gets to a point. I've been working on reminding myself, I get to, not I have to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get to help people.
I get to take a buyer out. Like, you know, there's a lot of agents that wish they had a buyer. So I have to just reframe the way that I'm looking at it. Maybe I don't want to be away from my family on a Saturday morning, but I get to show this client a home and maybe find them their dream home. So.
Miss Penny.
You just said something I was gonna say, because.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Just reiterate,
It's beautiful.
Sarah.
No, it's beautiful, because, yeah, so, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I go back to them, certain ones, the shift, the pivot shift, you know, morning calls or those. Sometimes I can't do them right. I mean, I'm not consistent, especially when the kids are back in school, to do it right at 8, but then I listen to them later throughout the day or something. But yes, I am constantly reminding myself how blessed I am to be able to do the things I do. I have family members who have health issues, and I'm reminding myself that yes, I'm hosting this open house, you know, for this client, and I'm very blessed to have the clients and to be able to be healthy enough to be here to do this.
Absolutely. All right, third question. What are your top 3 challenges you're facing in your business?
Let me get that question.
I was like, wait, I was happy to fix it.
Okay.
We'll start with you, Penny.
I'll be honest.
Consistency. consistency.
Because during like this crazy market, it's like, it's like, I'll be really good about making my calls, and I know Kristen's probably gonna hear this, but like, I'm really good about making my calls, and then get busy working, in the business instead of like keeping, feeding it, so, but, I have, an amazing, person on my team. I used to call her my assistant, but she does so much more than that, she's so much more than that, Lisa's fabulous. But like she does an amazing job with, like, she sends the birthday cards, anniversary cards. I mean, I get calls from people going, hey, like, I text people, happy birthday. Oh, we just got your card. I'm thinking,
I knew that.
I knew that because Lisa's on top of everything. So we do stand, like, try to stay on top of birthdays and anniversaries and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's
So where do we get a Lisa?
Yeah.
We just steal Lisa, if you don't know Lisa out there.
I just steal hers.
Yeah, no.
You can send out cards or
No, we can do
something.
it often.
There's some great services
That
that will
would
do
not be,
that.
that would not be.
No, I'm not even- she doesn't play about that. She does a lot.
All right, anything else? So consistency and
Yeah, consistency, working, in my business, not always just on it, that sort of, yeah.
perfect. Consistency is the only thing that cuts the curve of real estate, right? And otherwise, how many people have heard me say we own a roller coaster, right? We own a roller coaster, and the only way to stay sane in this business is that you become the driver and not the rider, right? If you become the driver, that's when you become consistent in the business. Otherwise, you're
That
just
is cute.
we all own a roller coaster. If you ride it every day and throw your hands in the air and just go along with it, you will throw up. And consistency. Or cry. I have that. Or both. All right.
Or have your face go.
It's not. Renee, what are some challenges you're facing?
So consistency is always a challenge. I feel like the only, and I feel like one of the people who's perfected that is Bob Wolf. That man can pound a phone like nobody I've ever met. And he's like, oh yeah, I love it. And I'm like, really? 'Cause I'm like,
That he would always, like, he would be in his office.
he's in his zone, man.
He's in his zone, and
Yeah,
until he
he's
makes
the
so many
bomb. He's the
contacts,
bomb.
she'll be like, are you coming over dinner? No, I haven't met my numbers. Like that.
Yeah, he's awesome. And if you haven't met him, you should. Consistency, I'm gonna be like super transparent. The only thing I'm not gonna do is cry because I'm not a public crier. I have struggled with commission this year because I have had good past clients. People are making more money than they've ever made in their entire life and they want their real estate commission reduced. And you're like, are you kidding me? You should be paying me double. And it's like greedy jerks, but that's not nice. I only say that to myself.
Sounds how you really
But no, it's true between.
It was the music.
Although I will say that when people will call me and be like, don't bother coming if you're not going to reduce your commission, it's like, well, thank you. Most of my business is referrals and repeats. And so whereas I am happy to compensate or somehow give some kind of concession for good clients, I still really struggle with that because when we're talking about a really expensive property, it is very hard not to go a little bit to scarcity and say, oh my God, it's like $2 million. And so that is something that has been a challenge because of everybody else, and that I work on and continue to work on so that I will get back to the point where I'm like, I don't want your $2 million listing. Okay, really? When is that going to happen? Probably never. So that and I do have a little trouble with all I do is work, and I just love to work, and I just work, and I work a lot. And so then I'm like, oh, I need to do this, and oh, I need to do that, and this and that never happened because I work. So it's your turn.
I can only come up with 2, I'm sure. Like I have 300 challenges, but saying no more often, practicing saying no. I'm a people pleaser. Everybody comes to me and wants me to rescue them, and I rescue them, and I need to stop it. Happened like 50 times this morning on later. It sounds silly, but
really true, getting enough sleep.
Mm.
Oh, yeah,
That's
it's a
very
challenge.
valid.
Like, I'm stressed right
It's a
now
thing.
and I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I'm not rested in the mornings. So I'm really working on my sleeping schedule and patterns and starting the day rested.
I love that. What a great, like, all focusing, y'all did a great job at just kind of sharing, not just business challenges, but how it affects our lives, right? I mean, we know about when you're physically strong, mentally strong, spiritually strong, your business will be strong. But if any of those have lacks in them, then it does affect your business. But you have to take care of, got to put your oxygen mask on first. Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. Since we're moving into a skill-based market, I'm skipping around, so don't judge me. I really want to ask this one. Since we're moving into a skill-based market, what skill will you be focusing on to master?
It's you first.
Sorry.
But really more consistency with my database and knowing my numbers. Like I was like knowing the market numbers, like because I was listening to a podcast and first they talk about people always say how's the market, and there was one agent who could say, oh well, houses, because he literally apparently has followed them since 1993, since he. Like every week, he knows, and he could say, well, it's this many days on market, like this zip code or subdivision, whatever, so many days on market.
Right, man.
So he is like, yeah. He's got a little spreadsheets, right? But at least he's like,
He's knowledgeable.
He's knowledgeable, and that's what people want to know, that because there's so much fear. I mean, I have clients right now, and I'm like, think of it this way. Yes, your house was worth this a year ago when we first talked, and yes, you missed this, but now you're still this. So, like I still win. So I think just kind of calming people down, but I've said even listen, the home warranty. I haven't added a home warranty to a listing
In a hot minute.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I should go back and shoot it again. Like Lisa and I are talking about all the different marketing that we need to go back and start doing open houses.
The basics.
Yeah, going back to all the basics.
I got the fire contract accepted.
Yeah, we heard.
Being the economist of choice, of the market, right, is important for your clients. And how do you do that? How do you guys learn about the market? This will be next Tuesday, team meeting, 10:30 to noon. So there you go. Thank you. That was we didn't even plan that. I appreciate that. It's like I'll throw you the ball, you shoot it. You shoot it in. All right, Miss Renee. What skill are you working on to master?
I'm working on my scripts for that because most of my friends are like, oh my God, the market's so crazy. It's so crazy. And so I've been working on a little script so that it's not like, no, crazy is a relative word, because there is a lot of fear. And then the other thing, and this is like a cheat sheet, Sean Rawls, I think, posted the thing with the historical interest rates on it.
Yes.
Okay, so I printed that out and did use it as a presentation. And I circled when I had bought all the houses I've bought since I've moved to Georgia and what the interest rate was. And I was like, okay, these two were, actually I had my first house from way back when. These two were from before I was even in real estate, never once questioned the interest rate. It was like 11%. And so it's important to give people perspective and tell them what you want them to hear. And obviously the other thing I'm working on is my commission script. So, we've got that. We already know that. But so scripts and dialogues are important as it's shifting. It's important because my client said, well, we're not going to look right now because we're going to wait for the prices to go down. It's like, probably not going to happen. But you don't want to say it like that. You want to say, we don't expect them to rise as quickly as they have. So to have those kind of go-to things so that you can turn it around and, make it positive and encouraging instead of negative.
It's Brittany.
So I love this where we are. This market.
Oh, you
I think this is where I just excel because I think it's all about helping people self-discover and figuring out if they're moving away from pain or towards pleasure. So just asking a lot of really good questions. And when I hear newer agents in the hallway and they're grumbling, that's where I see the deficit. Like, they don't know how to help people self-discover their true motivation, or how, are they really ready to buy? Like, sometimes we wanna like push them. We can't make them more motivated. They gotta be motivated. I can't be more motivated than they are. And so I like peeling that onion with people and just kind of helping the light bulb go off for them. Like, okay, I really do want to sell, and here's why. And it's not really about I missed the curve or I missed the height, or I like peeling that back.
It makes me think of the core value, right? Our core CQTs come from curiosity, right? Coming from curiosity and just asking really good questions to get to the motivation. Okay. All right, we have time for the last question. Look at this, unemployment. So other than your sphere of influence and referral, which I know you guys have all talked about, what lead generation activities are you currently doing or have done to grow your business? So we have some younger agents maybe in the room who don't have that big database and referral network yet. What would be your advice to someone who doesn't have that robust database? What other things have you done that you found success with in growing your business? You want to jump in, Brittany?
Yeah, that's a challenging one for me because I have been in the business so long and it is so referral based. But for me, I have a website that's specific to a neighborhood that's pretty popular. And I used to just kind of let those leads just fall by the wayside because I just didn't have the bandwidth for them. So I'm much more intentional now about touching them multiple times because they're usually out of state. And so you're not converting them on one phone call. And I'm high D, y'all don't know me, and I like to get to it. And so I don't always have the patience for that, right? It's like, oh, you don't want to work with me today? Fine, I'm moving on to the next. So I've had to embrace the, I have to keep calling them, and I have to, when they don't respond to my text or they don't respond to my phone call, just keep going. Just, what's that? This keeps swimming, this keeps swimming. I'm not sure. I have to embrace that because it's not my natural tendency to do that.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep. I've had luck with golden letters. I don't know everybody's now. Luckily, I was like,
Well, maybe not.
okay, I was one of like the first adapters. I was on some kind of max coaching something. And this guy's like talking about this letter, and it's like a 1-sentence letter. Will you sell your house to a client of mine? And I'm like, oh man, that's genius. And I have had success listing it. I do find, because I'm not good at lying, that it works better for me if I really do have a buyer for that area. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit, but it's just enough so that you can talk more genuine about their needs and their wants and whatever. It does help. And but because I am a high D, if I go out and it's not a fit for my client and they're not ready that day, the reason that I'm following up on them is because my husband's like, hey, did you have some leads from that neighborhood? And I'll be like, well, yes, I do. And I was going to call them tomorrow. And but it's good. And what I have found on that letter is, because I've worked through it several different ways, and I found my daughter an off-market property that way, because weirdly enough, my husband addressed him because I can't do that. And she thought it was a letter from her son. So she opened it and she was like, oh my God, that's so weird. I'm moving anyway. And so I ended up being able to secure her residence that way. But with the other people, it's like, I tried one where I went into my clients and they're well problems, and it didn't, I got like one call.
Can you say that again? I
Write
can't.
it down. That's not it. Get to the point, and then you can work your way through it once you get the appointment. And then the other thing is that the other key to that makes it most successful is to continue following up with people who said, oh yes, I'm thinking of selling anyway. Now my coach always tells me that, I should bring paperwork and make them sign it on the spot. I'm not that great at that. I like to think that we're all friends and love each other before we sign the paperwork, so.
The golden letter is on the pivot shift ahead
What is it?
Facebook group, so if you're
All those
wondering
cyber
how to
versions.
find all of that, there's a million different things. So when the pivot shift ahead.
Yeah, and so
search.
one of my coach's other clients put together this awesome package for it that was like way more than what I can handle since I'm a single agent. But if anybody wants it, I'm happy to share. It was another big team and it was super cool. I'm like, wow, this is really impressive. Probably not gonna use that.
But in the parking lot. All right, we'll end on you then. What is it, where are some lead generation, that you've had in the past or are currently using?
We've always done some events, like
Events?
So, cause like prior to coming to Keller Williams, I was like, super involved with all my kids' activities, room mom and Cub Scouts and stuff. So I've always gotten involved with those. So like, but anytime there's ever been, I try to volunteer places, but just try to do like we do an event when our church has a fall festival or Easter egg or events or schools. We try to do those. So, but we do. I mean, we try to do like other stuff a year, but that we've always done that. I mean, we have every year we do it. We get my wrapping paper. So it's like every year, yeah. So it's
I'm never doing.
and even the
Popeyes.
people that
I just carry them around my car for 6 months. I still have writing paper from 2 years ago.
You need Lisa.
Well, like, yeah, but I mean, we've always done this, but sometimes you don't think they matter, but they matter.
Right.
And it is usually the husbands that are like, when I get my rep, I'm right, usually. So,
That's awesome.
Awesome. All right, give these ladies a big round of applause.